welcome back to... That was the worst intro ever.
Welcome, children. Welcome, my pretties. Is that better?
Very creepy.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Sorry, you probably just got that in your earphones, but welcome back to another episode of Bodies, Barbells and...
Bagels.
I am here with Jazzy, aka Sean McClaney, and I am your co-host, Alice Round. And if you do not know who we are, maybe we'll just give a little quick hi, hello, how are ya? So obviously I am Alice, I'm a co-host with Sean McClaney, and basically my goal is to help females in particular. I've moved away from coaching guys and palmed them onto Sean, but females in particular, and just really help them with understanding how to read through all the bullshit out there. Stop them from going on vicious dieting cycles, screwing up their metabolisms, and just having a toxic relationship with food and trying to fix all of those things. That is why I do what I do.
And you do it very well.
Oh, thank you. Help ladies with nutrition, training, mindset. And Shawnee, what do you do?
I like to, I specialise in, I think my specialty would be putting muscle on skinny guys.
Yeah.
I really like to do that, seeing as I was very much one myself. Obviously, comp prep as well, but I like to just, I think training is a huge thing for me. I really like the physical, lol, obviously. But yeah, training hard, training properly, training smart, putting some muscle on. Males predominantly I like to, but I still train females, you know. I actually train a lot of females.
You train a lot of my females.
Yeah, I train a lot of your females, yeah. But yeah, and obviously dietary and all that sort of stuff. But I like to keep it very simple. I think there's too much bullshit going on in the industry at the moment. I'm kind of a straight to the point sort of trainer.
Yeah, straight to the point with some
lots
actual
of science,
facts.
Yeah.
I think
we're
that's
both
the
very
difference.
science-based, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think that's the difference that people need to understand. I think that the industry is getting really overcomplicated. There's a lot of stuff going around that just isn't necessary for the average person.
No.
And I think that's the thing. And we've talked about this, I think, on the first podcast, but like what is optimal versus what is necessary is, I guess, very different. So
I'd say I'm an evidence-based strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer.
Yeah, and I would say, like, at the same time, I don't think that we're the most evidence-based coaches out there, because I think at the same time, we do use a lot of anecdotal stuff. We trial a lot of stuff on ourselves, on our clients, because unfortunately, research in this field, it's not, there's new research coming out every week. So unfortunately, well, it's not a bad thing. It just means that...
That's good, as long as you're not romantic with a specific dogma.
Exactly.
You know, if you're like, this is the way, like people who are keto zealots, for example, and they just won't listen to anything different. It's like, well, if researchers said that's nonsense, it's cool to say, show me I was wrong, shit, show me what I should be doing.
Exactly, and that's like the research that's now come out on refeeds and diet breaks, which disproves some research that came out like 6 months ago, I think, or 12 months ago.
What was that?
Well, one basically said it was a load of shit, and like Menno was saying, no, it's a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. And now there's research coming out that's now saying the complete opposite, that there is so many positive things, and Jeff Nippard brought it up in a podcast the other day, the new research.
Good old Kiwi Nippard.
And I'm not going to ruin it, because we are going to have old Dr. Pios on the podcast in a couple of weeks.
Dr. Pios in every episode.
So you should feel special, Jackson. But he's actually doing his PhD in that sort of area, so we're going to get him on. But we have waffle for 3 minutes, so about ourselves. So let's get into it. Today
Unless
we
it's
are...
a blue waffle.
I'm really going to crop that bit out. So today we are talking about supplements. This is a very contested topic, so it's going to be a good one, but we're just going to preface this by saying it's probably going to be a 2 or 3 part kind of topic that we're going to talk about. So today we're not going to do them in a sequence, but today is really going to be one about an overview on supplements.
Well, because you've got different types of supplements, obviously. So what supplements are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that, but I was also going to say we're more going to talk about, I guess, the big question that I get asked from my clients a lot of the time is, what are the best brands?
Yeah.
What is the difference between quality of product? What should I be looking for in a supplement? And then also, like you just said, which ones are actually necessary? So,
are we talking about health supplements, or are we talking about gains supplements?
Okay, so let's be specific. So we're going to be talking more about I guess, health supplements.
Yeah.
We're not going to be touching as much on like protein powders and creatine and stuff like that.
That's another one.
That's another one,
Because
definitely.
that's a huge one, and that's one that's lots of bro and pseudoscience and, you know, muscle tech magazines and endorsements and, you know, a lot of grey area.
Yeah, and I think like at the end of the day, like don't get me wrong, protein's protein. Like so,
Yeah.
I think that's probably actually we can just nail that one right on the head right off the bat. Protein powder. It's probably the one I get asked about the most, and I constantly get clients message me say, "Is this protein powder good?" And then they'll send me a photo of another protein powder, and they're both.
Should I be using ultra hydrolyzed multi-factored?
Oh, I mean more so when they send me one that they're both WPIs,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, it's pretty much
Same.
the same product.
Probably
like,
made in the same factory.
Yeah, probably. Exactly.
Different label.
So, like, as much as I say protein's a protein, I mean that if you're comparing the same type of protein. So, if you're comparing a WPI to a WPI, or a WPC to a WPC, or a vegan protein to a vegan protein, rice protein to rice protein, they're going to be pretty similar at the end of the day. They might have a few different ingredients, but to say one's bad or one's good, I wouldn't put that label on it. But at the same time, whey protein is going to be the best absorbed. So, unless you're a vegan, use whey protein, okay?
What about collagen protein? Let's not go into that. Let's leave that for another.
Why don't you explain to them why a whey protein is better absorbed and in terms of amino acid profile than a vegan protein?
It's a complete protein.
Okay, explain what that means to people.
So it has all of the essential amino acids in it, as well as the non-essential amino acids. So what you're getting is pretty much what you find in nature.
Yeah.
But to build muscle blocks. So it has a high enough leucine content more often than not, unless it's nitrogen spiked, which we'll go into in another episode. But it's a complete food, a complete protein. So if you eat that, it's like eating muscle, pretty much. In a non-sort of complicated way.
And I guess for people that don't know out there, obviously there is, 9 essential, 11 non-essential amino acids? So out of why is it essential to get that 9?
Because you literally won't build the muscle without it. It's like trying to bake a cake without all of the
Without an ingredient,
ingredients.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you
can have a shit like this is the thing that's wrong, not so beneficial, I should say, with certain vegetarian vegan powders is it's like having a high content of one amino acid. So it's like having a shitload of flour but no eggs.
Yeah.
You know, all right, you've got a shitload of flour, great. It's, you know, you could kind of make a cake with that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a complete cake, and it's probably going to taste like shit.
Exactly. So, like, that's one of the hardest things, and we'll probably do a whole podcast if you guys are keen on vegan diets and vegetarian diets, because we actually help a lot of clients with it.
Yep.
And I'd love to do a whole
Successfully.
podcast on how to successfully be a successful vegan.
Yeah.
Be more than happy to go into that if you want it. We're not going to get into it today, but if you do, please leave us a message, a comment. Even though we're not vegans or vegetarians ourselves, because we loves us some meat.
I was a vegetarian when I travelled India by force.
Okay.
Yeah. I lost 20 odd kilos of muscle and got fatter.
You're also
I
cycling.
was cycling as well, yeah. So that's why I don't do much cardio.
Okay.
So, and I don't do
And
vegetarian.
no
I do
vegan
like
diet.
vegetables though.
Well, I did vegetarian for a little while because my mum did similar to you. She went and lived in India and became even more hippie than she already is. And I was living with her when she came back. So she was eating vegetarian and I was a stingy uni student, so I would just eat her food. And I was running then and I got really bad anemia. So, yes, did not work for me. But saying that was like 8-9 years ago and I wasn't as well educated in nutrition as what I am today. And I probably could have done it a lot better looking back on it. I think I just didn't know what I was doing. And that's a big thing. If you're going to go down the path of vegan or vegetarian, then you need to know, and again, this gets into supplements today, and we're going to definitely touch on that with the sup talk.
I want to touch on anemia as well. So.
Yeah, 100%. So let's actually start off with a little fan shout out. I just want to say a little shout out to a couple of girls who Instagrammed me, DM'd me, my little for her tip last week of spiking their kombucha with some soda water to save you some dollars. So thank you for sending me those messages. I also got some really nice messages on my Instagram from some people that have been listening to all the episodes. So I did screenshot a couple.
So famous.
No, I want to say thank you to people. So Sherry Rose Fitness, Kristen Conway sending me some really nice messages. So thank you so much, ladies, for tuning in. If you are listening, like DM Sean as well, because, you know, he's jealous because I'm sitting sitting here.
Hey, actually,
Yeah.
Valentine's Day we went out for dinner.
Yes.
And someone said, the waitress said that she listens to us and follows you on Instagram and
She don't follow you though.
didn't know me at all.
So what's the point of that
What the
story?
fuck? So even though I'm on your Instagram and on this podcast, you know, please be my friends.
Get him to 1,000 follows.
Football friends. Yeah, I'm not near. If I get 1,000 followers, I'll get Insta story, and I'm still on 755.
So guys,
I'm
please
still a
go and
loser.
follow Sean because we really want him on Insta story. Okay, let's get into it. For her tip this week. No, you can start for him. Go.
Do you know, for
Gentleman
her, that's
first.
Attila's surname. For her.
People
Anyway,
aren't going to know who
that's
Attila
one of our
is.
friends.
Summer's husband.
All right. My tip for him, actually, or should I say, tip for him?
I'm looking away right now.
Tip for him. If you get that, drop me a comment and let
When
me
they're
know.
going to win a tub of Vegemite.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing. Yeah.
Okay, get into it.
My tip for him is actually a tip for him and her, technically. But question for you.
Yeah.
Can I hear you over there?
Yes.
She's just chilling over there.
I
on the
just
sofa.
moved over there while I was making terrible jokes.
My question for you is, how many women have you worked with that have low iron levels, or you could say anemia? Like, is it common or?
I mean, actually gone and got blood tests done and had it diagnosed. Reasonably common.
Yeah.
I would say there's some also that potentially have it that just we haven't actually gone and got them tested, but we've increased, say, their iron intake in their diet and they've felt better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say fairly common, especially for women who diet a lot.
Yeah.
I would say more common than not for people who have ever been on a diet. For my females that are just general pop and eat a pretty balanced diet, then not so much.
Now, second part, how many guys?
Barely ever.
But exactly, yeah.
I don't think I've ever had one.
Yeah. Couple of reasons. I mean, there's anecdotal and there's a good knowledge of science. The guys tend to eat more red meat. That's number one. So obviously that's why I said tip for heme, because heme, obviously the meat form of iron, and non-heme being veggies and stuff like that.
So yeah, if you hear someone talking about heme iron, they're basically meaning like comes from an animal iron.
Yeah. And very, very bioavailable as well, as opposed to non-heme veggies and stuff like that being non-bioavailable. We'll talk about iron in a minute.
Which again affects the vegetarians out there and the vegans.
Well, non-heme, so veggies and stuff like that, like if you look at absorption rates, is like 1 to 3% of the iron in it that you absorb, because there's so many things.
Good luck eating a lot of spinach.
Well, there's so many things in veggies, phytates or phytic acid, oxalates
sensitive.
that block the.
Which is interesting
absorption.
because then they say things like consuming vitamin C aids iron absorption, and you think a lot of those, like spinach, for example, high iron, high vitamin C. So wouldn't you think, technically, on paper, that would work? But no. But I'm pretty sure that's if you're consuming a heme iron with a vitamin C.
But necessarily it. If you consume a heme iron, it actually increases the absorption of the non-heme as well.
Yeah.
But the spinach, yes, it's got the good things in, but it's also got the blockers in as well, which actually overrun the. Plus, you get calcium and stuff from certain green leafy vegetables, which is another blocker.
Yeah.
So,
which is why you don't have your cup of tea with milk with your iron in the morning.
Yeah, with your iron in the morning. But anyway, I digress. My tangent.
Sorry,
Semi-tangent.
Yeah.
So guys tend not to have as prevalent low iron levels. A couple of reasons: we eat more red meat in general. We're the hunters, you're the gatherers, sort of thing. But also, there's a big link between testosterone and iron levels as well. So the higher your testosterone levels, the more you release a hormone called hepcidin.
Interesting.
Here we go. But
teaching me today.
Huh?
Teaching me today.
Well,
I didn't
there
know
you go. But hepcidin is basically it's the hormone that controls the absorption rates of iron. So if you have high circulating levels of hepcidin in your blood, it actually inhibits iron absorption. The higher your testosterone is, the more it, you need to get this right, is basically the higher levels, my brain has to get this right. The higher your testosterone, the more it inhibits hepcidin.
Okay.
So that means that you will absorb more iron into your body. And the funny thing is if you look at, I obviously coach a couple of people now and then which are enhanced and using certain exogenous hormones.
Drugs.
Steroids. But so their testosterone is a lot higher, so their hepcidin is blunted even more, which means that their iron levels are absorbed even more. Sorry,
So
that's
too
a bit
high.
brainy. So they get too high.
So what happens when iron levels are too high? Toxicity level. Like,
There is toxicity levels, but it's I mean, you have to reach quite a lot, but you're talking 20 to 40 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, and then you're getting up to toxic levels. The RDA say between like 8 and 12 milligrams of iron a day is fine, but so your blood gets thicker because your iron, basically imagine sticking a shitload of more vitamins and minerals into your blood. It just gets thicker and more viscous, harder to pump around the body, not so great for your organs, your liver, your kidneys
and
have
then
to filter
if you're
more.
also on some
Exogenous.
exogenous supplements, we'll say,
Steroids.
then wouldn't your blood pressure also potentially from some of these things be a little elevated?
More,
and
like
then
90%
more
of the
pressure on the
time, yeah.
arteries as well.
Yeah. So the more testosterone you're running and the more trenbolone sandwiches you're having a day, the higher your blood pressure tends to be as well, because your blood gets more viscous, thicker, there's more shit in it. Hence why a lot of people on testosterone, or not, let's just say people that
just
have
high
very high.
testosterone.
I have very high testosterone levels, so this is why this is my tip. Naturally, yeah. This is why my tip for him or him is actually the reverse of your tip for her. Like really, so like if you're if you do have very high iron in your blood, then there's a way of actually inhibiting your iron absorption so you don't get any more. So instead of going and giving blood all the time, the thing to do is another thing that actually increases hepcidin, so it stops you absorbing iron as much, is exercise. So if you're going to have your red meat, because it's like, I want to eat my red meat, and if you one thing is cut down on red meat. I do that of some clients when they come to me and they've got really high iron levels. We sort them out ASAP. And then your future thing to do is, if you want to have your red meats, have them on training days, because then you don't have you don't absorb as much. So in a woman, complete opposite.
Yeah, which is funny because I actually do tend to put more red meat on my clients' rest days,
days?
unintentionally.
Exactly. You said that the other day, which is cool. So your hepcidin
Because
levels.
they tend to have a higher fat intake on their rest days, so that's why their red meat goes there.
So yeah, you're going to absorb less iron on your training day, so go ahead and have your meat on those days. I would still say limit it, because you don't want too much iron in your blood. Makes you feel like shit, makes you feel tired, you feel like you've been punched in the liver and the kidneys.
So it does basically the same thing as if your iron was super low.
It's pretty much the same thing. If your iron's too low or too high, it kind of does the same thing. And there's loads of links between things like Alzheimer's and cognitive dysfunctions and stuff like this as well.
And I think this is what a big take-home tip for supplements today is that there's pros and cons to adding things into your body. And this is why you don't just take 100 of things and expect to get a better result overnight. Because there's a certain point of diminishing returns where things actually start to go in a negative when you're putting stuff into your body, especially at high dosages. And I mean like just natural supps over the counter. A lot of them can just be peed out, but some of them can have interactions, can have negative responses.
Yeah.
Especially with your exogenous.
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 Yeah, I love.
But yeah, okay. So good tips. So guys, let's summarize because that was very long-winded.
So yeah, quick wrap up is if you have high iron levels, high iron ferritin, so the protein that transports and stores iron, then have your red meat on training days, because your hepcidin is going to be very high, which means you won't absorb it as much.
And maybe cut down your red meat a little.
And cut down your red meat, yeah, you really don't need as much.
Maybe just your portions even.
Yeah, and if your iron levels are low, on the converse, then have your red meat on non-training days.
And is that weight bearing or training in general? Is it specific?
No, it's actually endurance sports as well.
Okay, interesting.
Most of the studies are actually done on endurance runners.
Yeah, because they're normally the ones that struggle with amenorrhea and anemia and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Okay, into my for her tip.
For her?
My for her, boys, you may not want to listen to this right now, but periods.
Menzies.
Yeah, menzies. That is the grossest word for period.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot. Should we go through all the gross words for period?
Not all of them, but you can pick your favourite two.
I mean, on the blob.
On the bob, yeah.
Yeah. So
What else?
on the rag. What else? Yeah, I don't really want to say things too nasty, to be honest.
No, you're going to offend all the women on this podcast.
Is this explicit?
I'm trying to think what I call it. I just call it a period.
Me bleeding axe wound.
No, Sean, that's horrible.
All
right, you're out now. Yeah, you can be quiet for a minute while I give him a for her tip. Okay, Sean's out. So my for her tip is, drum roll, very boring this week, but thank you. Track your damn periods, okay? I know it sounds really simple, but if you are, and this is more, if you're struggling, and I'm talking about this from a craving standpoint, if you are struggling with cravings, with moodiness, with fatigue, with, severe hunger around that certain time of the month, but you're not aware that it's coming up, it's really important to track it, because a lot of my girls do say, I really struggle with like premenstrual cravings and premenstrual fatigue, but they don't say that till once they get their periods because they haven't actually been aware of it. And then they'll, check in with me and they'll go, oh my God, I overate on Friday and Saturday. And then they get their period Sunday. And like, if you know it's coming up, then you're going to be more in tune with your body and more aware that those cravings aren't like your body's not screaming that you actually need more food. It's just a sign of you being aware of it and then making a conscious effort to set some better strategies in place as to when you do get those cravings. Because probably one of the most common questions I get asked is, how do you deal with cravings? And I think we should do a whole episode probably on cravings and stuff. But at the end of the day, cravings can mean a couple of different things. I'd need to do a little bit more research on it. But from my understanding, a lot of people will say, oh, you're deficient in a nutrient. Possibly, sometimes.
Yeah.
But the big one is it's also often just lack of sleep, tiredness. Tiredness can be masked for hunger and cravings. And when you are premenstrual, you are going to be more tired because basically your progesterone levels are decreasing down in that premenstrual phase. And progesterone has a really big impact on energy overall. So you want to think about this massive change in hormones that's going on. You basically have three major hormones that are fluctuating, I guess, around your menses. So estradiol, progesterone, testosterone, and then even things like DHEA are going to be fluctuating. So you need to understand.
Complicated species.
We are very complicated. Yeah. It sucks. So men, have some respect for your ladies around the blob time.
Crazy,
and Sean's pretty good with that. And you know what the funny thing is? I'm going to go too much attention now. My period's been about 3 weeks late. I'm on me menses right now. And
finally,
we did have a pregnancy
scare.
But it's been a couple of weeks late. And which was weird because I've been getting quite bad cravings the last 2 weeks. More bloating, bloated, fluid retention.
You were
tired, really tired.
Slightly moody.
Slightly moody,
I'd say that, I don't know,
But I remember on Friday night, I was meant to train. And I was completely wiped out. I just looked zonked. And I thought it was my hay fever. And I went, okay, I'm going to listen to my body. I took the night off training and I trained instead, caught up for that session today. It's Sunday now. And got my period this morning. So it was like,
Fist bump.
Yeah.
No babies just yet.
So, ladies, what I'm trying to say is, like, normally I do track it, but obviously it was a bit weird that it has been a little off at the moment. Normally it's pretty regular. But I would say if you can keep some form of a diary of it, you're going to also, it'll chill you out a little bit when it comes to your weight and fluctuations in your weight. Because I find that my weight jumps up more premenstrual than actually during. Yeah. And most of my girls are the same because premenstrual, you are more fluid retentive. You're more susceptible to changes with carbohydrate intake. So that's another big thing. So let's say, for example, when I had one of my girls last week, she checked in. She was premenstrual, so she was about to have her period and she just had a high carb day. And she went up about 1.2 kilos in her check-in and she's in a comp prep. And so obviously she freaked out and she was upset and messaged me. And then I looked at her photos and besides her midsection being a little bloated, she was leaner everywhere else. All her other measurements came down besides her waist. I said, all right, I want you to recheck in 3 days. Just send me your weight and your waist measurement. And she was back down 1.5 kilos. So more than the premenstrual weight, even during. So what I'm trying to say is that there is going to be fluctuations, especially if you are having more carbohydrates in your diet. I'm not saying that means you need to cut them out around your period, but I'm just saying be aware of it because that's a big thing. Once you're aware of something and you take that responsibility and go, no, it's okay. Like I'm just premenstrual. That doesn't mean that I haven't lost weight this week or I haven't dropped body fat because remember, we need to understand that dropping body fat's very different to dropping weight. We don't really want to care too much about your weight, but obviously your body fat.
Especially around your monthly.
Yeah.
If it's going to fluctuate that much, then you've got to know, okay, it's coming, I'm fine with putting on a kilo or two.
Exactly, and then it'll come back down. And I would say that's a good recommendation too, that if you are, say, the day premenstrual and you're doing a check-in with a coach or something, maybe, like, definitely with my girls, they let me know. I have a section on my check-ins where they say, like, where they're at in their cycle.
Yep.
But then if you do that, maybe take your photos again a few days later and do a measurement a couple of days later so that you're not beating yourself up about it. But yeah, my biggest tip is just track. There's a lot of apps where you can track your menses, but generally speaking, I just kind of know what date roughly every month it's going to kind of fall in, and obviously that date will tend to push forward a couple of days on that 28-day cycle. But
do you remember when it was on a full moon? Every full moon, it was your period.
And everyone's going to look at me when
it's not now, is it? It's gone out of sync.
Yeah, it tricked ya.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is my tip. And the other big tip around that is going into supplements again. But iron intake. Obviously, when you are having your menses, during your menses and post menses, I would be increasing your intake of red meat, or if you are obviously vegan, some more sources of non-heme iron as well. Because this is another reason as to why you'll sometimes often feel fatigued during the cycle and often post. Actually, post-cycle is when you're meant to start to feel really good and start to feel strong in the gym again. Often during and pre-menstrual is when you're actually going to feel the weakest.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a good idea even rolling into your period to up your iron intake so that once it hits, you've actually kind of topped up those stores a little bit more. Because obviously you're depleting blood, you're depleting iron, you're going to feel more fatigued, and it's going to be really important too. It'll help reduce cravings as well, because if you are tired, like I said before, it all ties in. So I would definitely recommend a couple of steaks here and there premenstrual. Any tips then?
I personally, having done a pull check course on female specialism and all that sort of stuff, I actually really like, and I found anecdotally works as well, is I reduce volume on period weeks and stuff like that. Just because you do feel tired.
It depends on the client.
You are shedding nutrients, and also they say that using machines is a lot safer during that week. It's weird. Some I don't 100% agree with him on that.
I'm probably not going to go into depth to that today, because I reckon I could talk about that for another 45 minutes. So let's stick on iron.
Yeah, true. I just like to go on tangents.
I know. I have to bring you back. But if you do want a whole podcast on periods, training around your period, then that's definitely one we could do together. Do you want to do that one together?
Oh, I think people probably won't want me on that one. So, yeah. If you request me, or say no, Sean, please.
You know what is the best thing about having Sean be really well researched in female periods? That whenever I'm coming up to mine, he's like, oh, it's all right. I know you're going to be a little bit tired the next few days, and if you're a bit moody, I get it. And he never takes it personally.
Yeah.
So men listening,
it's true.
You be like that. Look after your women, and also know that if you are nice to them a couple of days before, you might get a sneaky extra bit of action in before it happens.
Oh, I need to get one in. And then if it's late, you're like, oh, I need to get another one in just in case. And then you get it on the daily.
We apologise, Christians.
Yeah, we're not married yet. So.
Yeah, what are we talking about? We're talking about cuddles. That's it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right.
Anything? We're talking about iron here. So anything more on iron, because then we can move on.
I think an important thing to understand is, can you explain to people when they are looking at blood work and iron, a lot of the doctors won't test for different, they'll just do iron as total. So can you explain free iron and what the different things that might show up in a blood test, and what to look for in an iron supplement as well?
Or mainly you look at the iron itself and the ferritin. So the
Fe,
the protein that stores iron so it's accessible at a future date. Because you can have high blood serum iron, but you're not absorbing it very well. That comes back to hepcidin again.
Yeah.
Your hepcidin is blocking you from absorbing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you obviously don't want that. You want it stored and being utilized. Do you know what? Iron supplements, I'm not a massive fan. If you speak to people that
they're very sensitive.
They're so bad for your stomach.
You get constipated.
And your shit goes black.
And you get super blocked
as well.
up.
So I'm a massive fan of trying your absolute hardest to get it from your diet, because there's so many things you get it from in your diet.
So much.
But it's not, I need to supplement with it. If you absolutely have to, then fair enough.
Like vegans, vegetarians, sure, yeah.
But I think there's a better way, and that's just, you need to be very conscious of what blocks iron absorption. Calcium is the one proven thing that will block the shit out of
caffeine's
iron.
a really bad
caffeine
one.
as
and
well.
tea.
Well, because caffeine is what I can't remember the fucking name of it.
But even tea.
Cocoa, tea, cocoa, and coffee.
Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking, I'm getting in a bit of red meat for breakfast and I'm having some berries for some vitamin C, and then you're then going and having a coffee with it, you're gonna kind of fuck that up a little bit. Really important to think about what you're consuming with your iron around that. And in terms of that, clients have asked me before, how much time should you then give it to then say if you want to have a coffee?
Honestly, I'd say 2 hours.
Couple of
Yeah, a couple of hours. Because you think about something that's going to go in your stomach and sit there, and it's got to dissolve, and then it's got to get through and into your guts. Coffee's going to go pretty much straight through. So you wake up in the morning, you put the coffee machine on. How long does it take you to feel like you need a poop?
I think everyone's a bit different.
Me personally, I can put the coffee machine on and pretty much need one already.
Oh, you're lucky, aren't you?
But as soon as I drink that coffee, it goes into you, and the caffeine stimulates your bowels to open. So it's very, very fast. So I would say 2 hours or so. Really let your food digest and split those up well.
Yeah.
Especially things like, so you've got that, and that's why it is hard for non-heme sources, so vegetarians and vegans, because there's just so many things that block iron. So you just have to be very conscious of that. That's why it's like, when you have arguments of saying, there's so much iron in spinach and kale and blah, but there's so much oxalic acid and phytic acid, which is going to block it as well, unfortunately. All of the things like, what's it called? Polyphenols. Yeah. All of these sorts of things. So you've just got to go, okay, what absorbs iron better? Vitamin C. I need to make sure that my iron sources I'm having vitamin C. So
yeah.
But it's hard. It really is very hard for vegans and vegetarians. So unfortunately, you do sometimes have to supplement, but you have to kind of think, this isn't going to be very good for my stomach. So
then you got to take your probiotics.
Yeah. And for vegetarians that eat eggs as well, there's phosphatin in eggs, which again inhibits iron absorption. So you're pretty fucked there as well. So
you may have to supplement.
So that's when it's like, okay, you should supplement. If you don't need to supplement, if you're a meat eater...
And to be honest, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you're going to be having a very high fiber diet. So you should be pretty okay with taking iron sup if you have a pretty solid vegan
it's going to go through you nicely.
It's going to go through you all right. Unless you've got IBS, then you're screwed.
IBS for a vegetarian or vegan.
I had a vegan IBS client who also was a very fussy eater once, and I had to write meal plans for them.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was not. It was hard.
Water.
Used to spend me about 3 hours writing a bloody meal plan.
That's when you do macros,
it can be difficult. I would honestly not recommend being vegan if you have IBS, just flat out. And it's just very, very hard. But again,
know that it's going to be very hard.
It's going to be very hard. You're going to be very limited, and you're probably going to be hungry because you can't have high volume of foods. Yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about vegan. I think a whole vegan one, another podcast would be a really good idea.
We'll get a vegan on.
Definitely.
We know some decent.
Yeah, we're going to get Brenda on, who did vegan
for
a while.
Is he a vegan that eats bacon? So.
Okay, so today let's get into some supplement talk. So Sean's a bit more of a supplement guru than me, so I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
We'll try to get straight to the point. Trying to not go off on too many tangents, but I've got some of my lovely clients have asked some questions. Okay. So Laura, and this is a common one, a couple of the girls asked me this, but they basically said, when you are looking for a supplement, and we're talking now about things like magnesium, zinc, just kind of your basic supplements that a lot of people take, and we'll get into that in a second.
Yep.
But what do you want to look for in terms of, I guess, brands? Because there is some brands that you will buy magnesium for $50 and other ones that are $15.
Yeah.
So what are the big things that you want to look for when, say, you're comparing supplements and brands out there on the market to get bang for your buck, but also quality?
I would say fillers. Look for how much that tablet weighs and how much the dosage of certain things are in that tablet. Also, what are you taking that tablet for example, or that supplement for? If you're taking a magnesium supplement and it has, say, 20 milligrams of magnesium and I don't know, let's say 600 milligrams of glycine, then it's, you're getting fuck all. So they'll say, 620 milligrams. So you look at 620 milligrams, you think, that's not too bad. Whereas another one might only be 200, whereas in fact that's 200 milligrams of magnesium. So it's know your dosages. So like I always say, you want to look at dosage
per serve.
Yeah, so dollar per dosage.
So we've got a magnesium in front of us that we're taking at the moment. And we kind of rotate them a bit, but we're not too fussy. Whatever's usually on
It's
special.
actually not a bad idea if we talk about magnesium, because it is just a huge one.
It's a very general one. So we've got here...
I don't mind rotating
and magnesium, I think, is one that people ask about a lot, because there's obviously different forms. So you're going to have it chelated, citrate, glycinated. Like, what are the one we're really looking for when it comes to magnesium being the highest amount? Because the one we've got at the moment is chelate. Chelate.
That's not chelation as in removing heavy metals from your body. It's chelated as in... So chelated basically just means that they've added an amino acid to it to make it more readily absorbable, more bioavailable, because magnesium on its own isn't great at being absorbed through the intestines. So they chelate it, they add certain amino acids. So you've got... The one I really like is glycine. It's huge. I think it is the lightest. I think it's the lightest weight of all of the amino acids molecular weight, so that's why it absorbs so well. And glycine is very, very good for a lot of things in the body as well. Very good for mental, cognitive abilities and stuff like that. So it's absorbed very easily. So you can chelate quite a lot of magnesium to glycine. This one has. This is magnesium glycinate. What else we got? Citrate or citrate, so that's citric acid. They actually use that in laxatives.
Lovely.
So that's how laxatives work. So the citric acid, so if you have too much vitamin C, what happens? You get runny shits. Kind of the same thing. So if you have too much magnesium citrate, it can give you bad digestion. But some have different purposes. Healing wounds, and it's one of those things that has 1,001
Okay, well, let's simplify it. So what would be the main one you'd be wanting people to look for? And what minimum dosage, I guess, are we shooting for as well?
Well, I really like glycinate. And citrate's fine as well. Magnesium oxide is fine as well. That's a big one. Magnesium oxygen. If you go by RDAs, if you look at ZMA supplements, that's 420 to 450 milligrams per day. You can have too much magnesium. Like, you're not going to get... I saw a conversation a while ago, and this person was saying that they got really, really sick from too much magnesium. And it's like, you would get a really bad stomach before you got really, really sick. Yeah. So the women is about 300, 350 a day. Guys is 400.
So this one's got total magnesium 220.
Yeah, that's right.
And this cost us about $30, I think. Yeah. And it's got 60 tablets. So let's figure out how much that roughly is per serve. So let's say a serve is 2. Do some maths there.
So it's $1 a serve.
About $1 a serve, so not bad.
So 50 cents for one. So you could probably get away with having one.
Yeah, I usually do.
Yeah,
so unless I'm really sore.
Because I like to pretend that I'm really sore.
So I guess what we're trying to say is try to figure it out that way.
Yeah.
What is the net amount that you're getting? How much are you trying to get? And then how much is that costing you per serve?
Yeah.
So there's not really going to be like specific brands. I mean, there may be some that are slightly better than the other, but not really. I mean, we've got Herbs of Gold, we've got Blackmore's here. I just got some off iHerb that are a completely different brand. But just look at the actual ingredients that they're using.
Yeah.
So we've got this other one, Nutrivar. This is a more expensive zinc.
This comes back to when we were talking about whey. Is you're not necessarily looking at the brand.
You're looking at the ingredients.
You're looking at the ingredient. You're paying for either an expensive glass bottle or a plastic one. But some things you've got to look at. For example, fish oils and that. Like we look at this one here. It's in a dark tub, so that means they can't be oxidized as easily through sunlight.
Yeah.
Which is really smart. If you have like
fish oil can go rancid.
Fish oil can go rancid really fast as well. So that's a good one. So
keep it in your cupboard, or some people say fridge, but then fridge mine's gone funny before.
Well, it goes hard.
Keep it in a dark cupboard.
And then it dissolves in your stomach.
And I guess like while we're on that, fish oil is a big one because now research is coming out about krill oil being more effective. Yeah. Salmon oil, you'll see all these different ones, and then obviously people have spoken before about whether you need a higher EPA or DHA as well. Okay. So obviously they have different benefits, EPA and DHA. Which one's the one that's more brain cognition is more DHA?
I thought EPA.
EPA, I'm probably wrong. I should remember this stuff, but I did it so long ago. But yeah, what are we mainly looking for in fish oil compared to something like krill oil?
Really, this is my opinion. I mean, there's going to be some studies that say that krill oil is better. It's like a concentrate of fish oils. But really, if you look at the EPA, DHA values in your fish oils, some will say, most will say there are 1,000 milligrams of fish oil.
Yeah.
If you look at what that 1,000 milligrams of fish oil breaks down to, it's normally about I think it's 300 milligrams. So on this one here, we've got 180 EPA, 120 DHA. So it's 300 milligrams of the two. I like a gram per day. So you work that out. That means you've got, it's not, I need to take 1,000 milligrams so a gram of fish oils. You need to take 3 grams of fish oils. Because that gets you 3 times 3, blah, blah.
1,000 of each, gotcha.
You could even take an extra one just for funsies to make it a gram because that's a better dosage.
Yep.
But very good for cognitive function.
You don't need to take 15 a day like I've seen before.
Yeah.
I think fish oil gets rapidly overdosed.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some plans where clients have had 15 to 20, so 1,500 to 20,000 milligrams a day, which is just ridiculous. So your dietary guidelines are around 2,000 to 3,000.
So EPA, we're talking anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
No, you were right. DHA is the brain, eyes, and heart.
Yeah.
So that's why I like fish oils because the anti-inflammatory properties. And do you know what? I find that when I get lazy with my fish oils, I do get sorer easier and I get little injuries and stuff. And I do find that when I myself and my clients get little shoulder issues, shoulder's huge, I don't know why. When you get lazy and you're benching more, your volume on your bench and your shoulders and your push sessions goes up and you get lazy on your fish oils, my shoulders get obviously really sore. If I start smashing fish oils and my glucosamine chondroitin,
because it's a big joint.
Instant fix, and
so
it really does work.
Hips, knees, and shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, roly-poly joints.
Yeah, all them
ball and sockets. That's what I was looking for.
Roly-poly. Jeez.
Okay. So next question from clients. So we've just kind of summarised and said brands, not a massive difference. Look at what you're getting bang for buck, dollar-wise.
It makes sense no shit.
One of my clients asked, "Is it essential to take supplements for the rest of your life?"
Well, why are you taking supplements?
Exactly, and this is exactly what I said to her. So basically she hates swallowing tablets, and I always laugh at her because I'm like, all right, well, you got 2 choices. You can either swallow a tablet once a day or you can complain about X and Y from not taking it. At the end of the day, if there's something that is going to literally take you 5 seconds to take every single day and it's going to assist you with something that you're struggling with. So let's say, for example, me with my IBS and I don't take my probiotics, which takes me a couple of seconds every day to take, I know I'm not going to have a great poop the next morning and or I may have digestive issues. So what's the playoff? The fact that I am going to have to take that for the rest of my life.
Is it that hard?
No, it's not that hard. But people choose your hard.
I don't
choose
get
your
it.
hard. Would you rather be constipated or would you rather take a supplement?
I think people think that supplements are the devil.
Yeah.
And even though we know a fair amount about supplements, people that know way more about this than us. We're trying to simplify it for the masses, basically. What you should think of taking is, but it's most of this you don't need to take. But if you feel like shit
optimize
and there's
your
something
health.
That's going to make you feel better, is it really that hard to take?
Why would you not want to make yourself feel better?
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. The thing is, at the end of the day, if somebody said to you, you've got depression and you have to take an antidepressant every single day, and you have to, you would take it.
Unfortunately.
Because it's going to make you feel better. Obviously, I'm anti-antidepressants was probably a bad example. But you know what I mean? If someone said to you, you've got celiac disease and you can't eat gluten, you don't eat gluten.
Well, you shouldn't eat gluten.
You know what I mean?
It's more like, and the thing is it's like, okay, well, this tablet is literally from a fish.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. This tablet is from a laboratory, and it's steroids and half mercury and arsenic.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take it every day to fix your digestive issues.
It's almost why I dislike the word supplement, because I think people get confused with day-to-day health things like magnesium, zinc, vitamin D, all this sort of great stuff, and confused with like the unnecessary stuff, which is maybe like more like your carnitines and creatines and all of that. Again, not stuff that you don't need, but they're not as essential like you know, you're going to get a lot of that from food.
Yeah.
Whereas some of this stuff is harder to get in the dosages that we want to get it from food, and the quality of food and the absorption of it and whatnot. So yeah, at the end of the day, are supplements essential? I actually think as you get older, you're probably going to have to take more of them. Like, let's be honest. Like, I know my mum, when she was premenopausal, we were getting her on a few different things. Your bone density changes as you get older. So if you're not eating a lot of dairy, we've got to make changes there. You often get less sunlight, some more vitamin D.
Hormones down-regulate.
Exactly. Yeah. So, if the other thing is, the easy way to think about this, if you went to a doctor and they said you had low testosterone, and as a male they put you on TRT, then you'd take that for the rest of your life. Yeah. Like, but yet someone's too scared to take fish oil for the rest of their life. Like,
but that's so funny as well, because like obviously I work with some people that are on TRT and take certain exogenous things.
So that's testosterone replacement therapy.
And so they'll get a shot of testosterone every 7 to 10 days or 1 to 3 weeks. It depends how you want to talk about it, what dodgy doctor you're going to. But they're on testosterone. Yeah, you tell them to take a certain supplement, and they're like, "Oh no, it's bad for you," or "Oh no, I don't want to take that because you know such and such." It's like, Jesus,
my liver.
You're on fucking steroids. You know, you're fine. This is going to be good for you. So it's,
exactly. I think, like, wouldn't you rather supplement with natural stuff now? Because if you think about it, things like taking magnesium, zinc in particular, have two massive benefits when it comes back to hormones, even, that you can take a lot of this stuff now, so you probably won't have those problems down the line.
Which is who I work with, is people that have screwed up. That Comprep hugely down-regulates testosterone levels, male and females. I work with a lot of guys that have down-regulated their testosterone so much that they pretty much have no testosterone whatsoever. Doctors will like to put you straight on TRT or certain creams and stuff like this to try and make it better.
So basically fake testosterone.
Fake testosterone or synthetic testosterone. But fuck knows how many people I've fixed from just more food and certain supplements for a certain period of time. Like you said, zinc, magnesium, massive things when it comes to testosterone.
Yeah.
Calories especially. D3, vitamin D3.
Yeah. The way that I see it is, it's almost like, so you can take something that literally has no negative impacts on your body,
no
only positive. You'll just piss out basically expensive urine if you have too much. Yeah. It's really hard to overdose on a lot of these stuff like zinc and magnesium. Yeah. Yet
it will fix you.
It'll fix you
endogenously.
And you're worried that, like, oh no, too much zinc's going to be bad for me.
I want to take a tablet.
Yeah. And I think it's something that I think people need to wrap their brains around, that it's not bad for you, but then at the same time, let's get back into, I guess, now supplements we recommend, and I guess I'll do my thoughts on supplements and you do yours.
I think that's it. A week ago, how many supplements can you take? Hundreds. Yeah. And I think there's too much of that at the moment going around. I don't want to bag any other trainers or anything, because there's science pro certain supplements, but there's so much pseudoscience or BROscience. You need to take 75 different supplements a day.
Yeah, and also there's a lot of ingredients being put in supplements that haven't been tested and haven't got enough research on them. And a lot of
independent.
I'm not saying that all Chinese herbs are bad, but some of the Chinese herbs being put in a lot of things haven't been significantly tested enough research to quantify a significant result.
I would say a lot.
Yeah, a lot of them. So just be careful that the supplements that you are taking, if you go on a great site, it's just examine.com.
Oh, it's awesome.
Go and if
It's
you've
free.
never been on it, it's absolutely free. If somebody ever tells you to take something, just type it into Examine. This is really great if you're going into a supplement store as well and you're confused. We'll link it in the show notes, but examine.com, it's funded by research, by universities, by non-biased companies, which is great.
The cool thing is it tells you, it will say a supplement or an ingredient or something like that, and it will tell you, they say it helps for brain, heart, testosterone, libido, and it will say how strong the research is on that area.
And then also the recommended dosage as well, which is great.
It's pretty cool.
So if you're not sure how much roughly magnesium you should be taking a day, Examine will really help with that as well. Obviously, you have Australian RDIs as well on the Australian Dietary Guidelines website. But then again, you've got to remember these are for general pop. So if you're someone that's exercising more, your dosage may go up slightly for things like magnesium and zinc.
Yeah, because they're water soluble.
Exactly.
If something's water soluble, it's easily depleted.
Yeah. So I always recommend people that are more active probably do need to increase those things. But at the same time, and this is like correlation causation zone here, but if you are, I guess, someone that's more into your health and fitness, you're probably also eating better. So, you're probably getting a lot of that from food, which is what we're going to go into now. So my big thing with supplements is food first. As much as we've talked about supplements for the last 50 minutes.
Supplement.
Yes, it is a supplement. So I guess my opinion on supplements and how I dose them with my clients is, number one, it's individual. There's definitely not going to be one stack that's going to be perfect for everyone. But at the same time, I probably give out a lot of the same general sup advice for a lot of my girls in particular, as opposed to what I would probably give my guys. But again, it's going to differ. So I think it comes back to, you need to first look at your diet. If you are a fussy eater, you're probably going to have to supplement a little more.
Simple as that.
If you're a vegetarian, and I wrote down all the people that will probably need to supplement more than other people. So the people I wrote down was vegans, lacto-ovos, athletes, FIFO workers, or people with super busy jobs or lack of food access.
Why FIFO? Just explain that.
I'll go into it after I list more. People with intolerances, people with allergens, people with issues that restrict dietary intake, like irritable bowel syndrome, people that maybe restrict food choices, e.g. keto dieting or cutting out specific food groups.
No grains.
Yeah, exactly. Paleo. Not saying any of these are bad. That's not what we're trying to say, but we're saying that anytime you restrict or limit your dietary intake and you're less flexible in what you intake and less variety, you're going to then be deficient in things, simply put. So FIFO workers are a big one, because I coach a lot of FIFO, so does Sean. And we find, if you're not from WA, you might not know what FIFO is, for that fly in, fly out work. I forget that it's not common in other states. Like when I came to WA, I was like, what's that? So basically what tends to happen is, I won't talk about exes, but yes, my ex was a FIFO worker and he always came back really, really tired. And what we found was that he would tell me that in the food holes, a lot of the vegetables, they were really dosed in a lot of oil and creams and things, and he was trying to stick to macros. So he just found that he would just avoid the vegetables, which wasn't great. So he was missing a lot of micronutrients. So a lot of the time with my FIFO workers, I actually get them to supplement by taking up a greens powder or a greens tablet, or even a multivitamin, things like that, where I know that they're going to be missing out on those nutrients just while they're away. They probably don't even have to take it when they're back in Perth or back in their swing. So this is what I mean by, like, the job that you do and the access to food you have may affect what you are going to be supplementing with, and that's why there is no kind of general consensus. And that's the same with if I've got a client who hates red meat and she's female, we may supplement with iron, or we may supplement with other things.
Smart with meal timings.
Or we're talking about, say, B vitamins. B vitamins is a huge one. So can you tell people, I guess, the generic benefits of B vitamins and what sort of people would be missing out on a lot of B vitamins in their diet?
It obviously helps with hemoglobin in the red blood cells, oxygen transportation.
What does that do?
So you have oxygen in your blood. So it's a nice healthy red blood cell.
And people don't realise that when you don't have healthy blood oxygenation, you actually can feel a little bit sluggish.
I feel terrible.
And that's what I'm trying to get to. What I can actually do for people, because then you say,
and that's why when people say, you don't have the B vitamins, I'm feeling very sluggish and tired, they help you access the energy in your food as well. So, but what do we find that's good for B vitamins? By the way, I say vitamins because I'm English, not
Adrenaline.
vitamin. Yeah, good old Vegemite.
Yeah.
We checked whether it was, because I know that like in England we have Marmite, and I thought Marmite was
got like yeast
made from beef or so. Or was that Bovril? It might be
That's
Bovril.
Bovril, yeah.
Whereas Vegemite is vegetarian. So if you're a vegetarian, you need to get your B vitamins.
Get on your Vegemite.
Get your old Vegemite in there.
Yeah, great one. Super high in B
Smear
vitamins.
it on your kale.
So what other people would be missing out on B vitamins? What are they normally in? Especially like B6, B12.
Grains.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your
so
meats.
people keto, paleo, you guys are going to be struggling with your B vitamins.
Yeah.
It's in chicken as well. It's chicken or beef?
It's in meat.
Yeah, so meat, your keto people are probably not too bad.
Yeah.
But definitely vegetarians and vegans. Again, I feel like the list of stuff that vegans and vegetarians unfortunately miss out on is a big. So you've really got to be really conscious with your diet.
We're not bashing vegetarians.
Not
and
at
vegans.
all.
We're just
I'm just
trying
saying
to
it's going to be
point out,
harder for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Come to terms with it and just.
If you make that choice, exactly. You know what? Sometimes I'd love to do that, but I'm just too lazy to do the food combining and all the stuff that I'd have to do to be vegetarian, to do it right and to feel good.
But it's funny because I obviously am a carnivore. I eat lots of veggies, I eat lots of meat. I don't eat too much meat. I don't like to eat too much meat, but I don't take many supplements.
No.
Because I have
take
a very
less than me,
balanced diet, and I think men tend to need less supplements than women anyway.
Women are more fussy eaters.
That's true. I eat pretty much everything.
Yeah, so I guess just be aware that if you are someone that limits certain foods in your diet, you need to be very aware of this. I find that when I'm dieting and when my caloric intake, that was the other one that I missed, gets lower, you will often need to supplement more.
Of course.
And when I am prepping people, I tend to increase their supplement intake. Now, 2 reasons behind why I would increase the supplement intake in a dietary period. Number one, you are just having less calories overall. So you have less micronutrients coming in. That is just fact. Which means also when you're dieting, your body's under more stress, which means that your immune system's going to be slightly weakened. So what we don't want to get is sick when you're dieting. So a big one is just having a general multivitamin's great for when you're in a caloric deficit, something high in vitamin C, all of these sort of things. To be honest, I don't utilize vitamin C as probably as much as you, Shawnee, actually, but I eat a lot of vegetables and I know I've looked on my FitnessPal a lot. I get a lot of vitamin C in my day. I don't think it's really an issue for me. And a lot of berries. And I think you'd actually have a lot as well, more than what you probably realise. But it's not a bad thing, throwing in. But you can overdose on vitamin C. That is one.
Just gives you a bad stomach.
Exactly.
The thing is it's one of those, again, another one of those supplements that's hugely used in the body like crazy. Yeah. So if you can chuck in one chewable orange flavoured chewy thing, they taste alright. So, and I find that when you're in comp prep, you do chew through nutrients a lot.
Absolutely.
Your metabolism's like my metabolism is on fire.
Yeah, and I think the other point that I was going to say with dieting is that if you are someone who has to get a little more aggressive with your dieting and say either if you're dropping your carbohydrates, again, you need to look at what foods. Like we said before, B vitamins might be something that you add in a comp prep. They're definitely B vitamins, zinc, magnesium.
Think about if you drop your carbs and your fats. So you're dropping a lot of your B vitamins. You're dropping your fiber as well. And your fats, you're dropping your fat soluble. Yeah. So your ADEKs.
Exactly. So think about what you're missing out on. So vitamin D is a big one I bring in comp prep, and vitamin D and vitamin B have massive impacts on energy levels. So if you are feeling super flat like crap and you're in prep, that might be something to consider. Are you missing out on, and especially if you're prepping in winter, that's a big one as well. Look at your climate. If you're in a cold climate, vitamin D is a massive one that you could be missing out on.
I actually use a lot of vitamin D. Like they tell you it's 400 to 800 I use.
3 to 800, yeah.
3 to 800 a day, whereas if you look at tablets, they're 1,000. They said that a better minimum dosage for like efficaciously dosed is 4,000.
I saw for women I've been doing a lot of research on thyroid lately, and women with thyroid, they say 10,000 a day.
That's what I do if I'm working with someone that's really down regulated, testosterone, post comp prep and all that, 10,000 IUs of daily D.
Yeah, get your daily
D in for the first week or two, and then I drop it down to 5,000.
That's what saying with thyroid.
5,000 a day for me.
Yeah, they were saying 10 days on 10,000 and then come back down to about 5.
It's hard to. I don't think it's toxic, but I've heard some trainers that are very knowledgeable do one big bolus of 100,000 IUs. So you work that out, it's a whole fucking pot.
Yeah.
You know, screw that. Well, it feel quite cool because they're little like jelly bean sort of things going down your throat. No.
So I guess in terms of supplements that we recommend, because we don't want to make this too long.
So what would your... You
do yours first. So what are your top supps that you probably find that you like yourself, or ones that you find you're commonly putting in clients' plans, and why?
The first question I always get from clients when they get their new plans is...
What supps am I on?
Yeah, what supps am I on? And it's like, well, I haven't seen any of your blood work. Do you feel shit? Do you think you need it? But
let me see your diet.
Yeah, I would say we try and get as much as possible from the diet for the first couple of weeks, and then I kind of gauge from there. But I would say almost everyone, the Daily D. I love vitamin D, especially for guys, because there's a lot of research into freeing up testosterone that's bound, what's it called, sex hormone binding globulin, so it's SHBG.
Yeah.
Some people have fairly low testosterone, but they have a lot of bound testosterone. If you can free that up, which I've said that vitamin D has been shown to do, not the best evidence, but I know I've chucked it in with my guys with low testosterone. It works really well.
Sean sees one bit of research that says it.
I'm like, let's trial it. Let's trial it on some guinea pigs, yeah.
Why not?
So I really like vitamin D. I do like vitamin C because everyone's afraid of fruit these days. But
boys more than girls.
Boys are, yeah. But the thing is, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
boys don't eat as many veggies.
The soil's just shit at the moment. You know, things are growing so fast. No one eats organic.
That's why I need zinc.
Yeah, no one eats organic. Magnesium and zinc completely depleted from soil. I think
especially in WA.
80. Oh, it's so dry.
Our soil is sand.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at somewhere like Tasmania, and they probably don't need to supplement.
Oh, you can see the difference in the color of the grass
and the quality of the fruit and veg there. It
so much higher.
And no one's ever. I'm from Tassie, so I'm going to brag about it. But
especially an extra finger.
Exactly. But the quality and how tasty the fresh fruit and vegetable there is completely different. Even the water tastes different.
Yeah. Well, they always say about the salmon.
Yeah.
Oh, salmon's so much better in Tassie.
Well, what do you buy at the shops? Tasmanian salmon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
you don't get WA salmon.
No. Well, yes, we get probably WA bassa. Fucking horrible fish.
Bassa.
It's like jellyfish.
Yeah. If anyone's ever comp prepped on bassa.
I refuse to.
Fish and a rice cake.
Or rice and a fish cake. It's much better. So me, vitamin D, big one, and again comes back to the soils being so depleted. Zinc and magnesium.
So what are some of the other benefits of vitamin D?
Well, the obvious ones are healthy bones, because it tends to come with boners, yeah, healthy boners. So bones and boners. That's a great way of
immune system.
And immune system,
yeah, massive one. And think about comprep. What's happening? Immune system.
Exactly. So
calcium absorption. So if you are coming into premenopausal, if you don't have a lot of calcium in your diet, help with the absorption. Pregnancy and breastfeeding.
Interesting.
Yeah, because of calcium.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay.
So pregnant and breastfeeding, vitamin D necessary. They're saying for nerve developments in infants.
Well, there you go.
I'm doing my research from the back of the packet.
From the back of the bowl.
Yeah. So there you go. So great for pregnant, and that's a big one. I get asked, and somebody did ask me about that, so we will touch on it. Pregnancy. A lot of women get scared of supplements, and doctors scare them off.
Yeah.
Especially protein powder. I'm like, what is wrong with a bit of whey? But
I get it. It's a fragile little baby.
But any of these sort of supplements that we're talking about now, like naturally occurring ingredients, you are completely fine to keep taking.
Yeah. Well, think about it.
Check your dosages with your doctor. But if anything, you're going to need them more because you've got this little fetus inside of you chewing away at your nutrients.
That was very English. You said fetus.
Yeah.
I'm Englishizing you. That doesn't sound right. Well, most of this should be found in your diet anyway. So if you're afraid of taking vitamin C, well, you shouldn't eat any oranges, or you shouldn't eat any apples or anything. You shouldn't have any, spinach.
Yeah. So what's your next one? So you did vitamin D, vitamin C.
Zinc and magnesium.
Zinc. Let's talk about zinc. I love zinc. Zinc has so many benefits. Let's list some of them. There's about 1 million.
You could go through it. It's one of those ones that's...
Oh, well, give them something.
Nerve developments.
The ones that they actually care about.
Go on in, you tell me.
I'm not going to read off the box. I'm going to read off my knowledge.
Go on in.
So enzyme function.
Yep.
Big one. So if you don't know what that means, basically everything in your body requires enzymes to function. So really helps with overall, it helps with ATP production.
Yeah.
So energy production. Zinc helps with, like Sean said, wound healing.
Yeah.
So if you have acne and scarring, for me, I struggle with acne. So definitely as a teenager, and I find when I take zinc, my skin clears up more, and I haven't been taking it consistently, and I've just broken out.
Do you know why? Is that why
That's
they
also
put?
premenstrual.
Is that why they put zinc on their noses and stuff?
Exactly.
The old cricket players.
Oh, maybe not.
Sunblock and what have you.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
That's different zinc, Charlie.
Yeah, why would they do that?
Just called zinc.
Surely it's a purpose.
But is it actually made of zinc?
I would assume so.
Okay, we're going to go research
Yeah,
that and
we'll
get back to
research
you.
that, yeah.
But zinc just has insane amounts of benefits. So if you think about every single cell in your body and you having this big dose of zinc, it's going to help overall with enzyme production, which means your body's just going to function a little more efficiently on the daily, which is going to help your brain, going to help your mood, going to help your sex hormones. Everything. Yeah, zinc is a massive one.
Yeah.
And like Sean said with the soil before, it's very easily depleted. So on the actual back of the packaging, it doesn't actually say any of the benefits. Literally just says flu symptoms and wound healing. But if you think about it as an overall, then it's overall going to boost your immune system because of the, again, enzyme function.
One more for me.
Yeah.
I really like fish oils.
Yep.
So like you're talking, you can get a ZMA supplement, zinc, magnesium and B6. So that's pretty much one supplement. Your vitamin C, your vitamin D and your fish oils. I would say that's in most of my clients' plans.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's when it comes into, okay, we've been working together for a couple of weeks or whatever, a couple of months. I just put one of my clients on a probiotic. And it was funny because he was like, my guts don't feel right. We tried a probiotic, literally pooped the next day.
And how many people ask you, which probiotic should I take?
The one that is actually alive.
Yeah, the one that's in the fridge.
The one that's in the fridge. More, I don't really get like ones that aren't in the fridge. Are they still fine considering it's live?
Well, you can buy them off iHerb and they get shipped to Australia.
That's true,
so I bought some because I was travelling and I wanted one that I could take with me travelling. Yeah. And I was still constipated, but I get constipated when I travel. So
you always do, don't you? Jeez.
Yeah, it's not great. Not great for comps, that's for sure.
I am a big fan of probiotics, but you have to get into the diet of probiotics. So you have to have the prebiotics, so the fibre there to feed the probiotics. But they're a big one.
Yeah, that's why I tend to take them I always take them at night, and I generally have a salad with my dinner. So I'm getting in a good bit of prebiotics and then that. The reason that I also think that a lot of people, I used to take them in the morning. As soon as I switched to night, my digestive system was so much better. Because if you think about it, if you need some time for your guts to relax. So that's why sometimes fasting's great. So if you're having like a probiotic at night or two, and then you're going to bed, your body's overnight fasting, and then say you don't eat for a few hours in the morning too, your body's had this big window where it's actually been able to allow for some good bacteria to grow. Yeah. Whereas if you're just throwing in food all the time, you get a lot of acidity, you get a lot of these issues going, not that acidity is bad, but you get a lot of this stuff going on too much, and then that can cause a lot of disruption. I found when I was eating like 6 small meals a day, as opposed to like I ate probably 4 to 5 now. Yeah, I like 4. My digestive system is 10 times better because my guts were so inflamed that they were never getting a break. Yep. And so if you're someone with IBS like me, irritable bowel syndrome, you are better off generally eating like 4, even 3 meals a day, bigger meals, and giving your guts more of a break. So I'm a big probiotic fan, so I guess that'll go into my ones now. Mm-hmm. That's probably my number 1. To be honest, I'm pretty shocking with my supplements when I'm not dieting. I'm much better on them when I'm dieting. Sean will notice that. I have them all sitting out on a counter, and I'm much better with them, especially at night. I struggle with my morning ones. But yeah, when I'm not dieting, the main one that I take when I'm not dieting is probiotic and magnesium.
We've got more calories when you're not dieting.
Exactly,
so you don't
probably
need
zinc.
Shit,
but the other ones I don't really worry about. So probiotics, the biggest tip for you guys with that is rotate them. So I buy different brands because then you're going to get slightly different strains of bacteria. Yeah. I actually have 2 in the fridge at the moment, and I've just been like kind of rotating them. So I have Inner Health, and I have this one called Medilab, which I really like, and it was actually a little bit cheaper than Inner Health. And it has...
How many billion bacteria does it have per cap?
A lot.
Well, Inner Health is 25 billion, I think, per cap.
Sure?
Yep.
This is 8.7, but I remember looking at them and it had more. No, sorry. No, way more than that.
Might be 8.7 of one of the strains.
Yeah, the total is 8.7, but then of Bifidobacterium bifidus, 125 million.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really high. So yeah, I mean, I've been using that and I've been pooping pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And then it also has a little bit of amylase and protease and lipase, which also help with that. So digestive enzymes, which is why I like this one. So that's something that people do ask about a lot. Do you need digestive enzymes? Not necessary, but if they're in a probiotic, then that's going to assist.
I actually get horrific heartburn if I take digestive enzymes.
Depends which ones.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, please don't go take HCl.
Oh,
That's the one that I would have to say. I have actually heard of about 5 girls going to hospital because of taking too much HCl.
Give you way more than 5.
And burning through their stomach lining.
Did you do the test to see whether you take one and you see how you digest? You take 2 or 3.
Poliquin.
Fucking felt like I burnt a hole in my throat.
In your esophagus.
It was awful because I can digest 2 kilos of steak like it's nothing.
So imagine a girl that's dieting and only eating 40 gram serves of protein, and then
you have 6 HCl tabs.
Exactly. So hydrochloric acid you are basically putting in your body. So you're putting an acid in, and the whole point of your stomach is
to be the acid.
Yeah.
So you put more acid in your already acidic stomach. So it's like adding lava to a very angry volcano.
Whereas protease and amylase are alkaline. Yeah. So it makes more sense to have a more mild digestive enzyme.
Well, it works on actually how to break it down.
Yeah.
So
please don't do HCl. You don't need it. And the other problem is with something like that
I've never supplemented a client on it.
Say it does assist you. Yeah. It's so strong that your body will become reliant on it to shit. So it's like someone taking, not the same, but when I've had a lot of clients that have come to me and they've abused laxatives. Yeah. And then they can't poop without them.
Spastic colon.
Yeah, and I'll put my hand up. I abused them back in the day when I went through my eating disorder phase. And I would be the same. And I think that honestly messed up my guts for life. Because I used to use them, and then when I came off them and tried to wean myself off them, I wouldn't poop for 4 or 5 days. And I really had to then understand and learn about relining my gut through probiotics, prebiotics, having the right amount of fibre, not too much, not too little.
That was my problem, too much fibre.
Yeah, too much fibre. So I think that going back to the top ones, mine are very similar to Sean's. I find that I have more females that need probiotics than males. Girls seem to, for some reason, have much more sensitive stomachs. And I don't know, and I want to do a bit more research about that being menstrual related too, because I noticed that a lot of my females actually get constipated pre-menstrual. So that's actually quite interesting for me too. So I do want to do a little more research. I don't know if that is because of what's happening with the hormonal factors, or that they're more sensitive to carbohydrate changes and fibre. Yeah. So we'll have to look into that. But my favourite ones and my daily supps and the ones I put in clients' plans the most commonly, because I work with a lot of females. I don't put probiotics in all my clients' plans, but some of them, probably about 50%. Yeah. Vitamin D, I've definitely got more into since I've lived with Sean.
Daily D.
Zinc, magnesium, and my other one. What is my other one?
Fish oil, magnesium.
It's really fish oil would be my last one. I'm not as big on vitamin C, but I definitely put it in a lot of my FIFO clients' plans and a lot of people who don't eat a lot of vegetables. Yeah. But my other one would honestly probably be if you don't want to take all of that and you're someone who eats a pretty balanced diet, you could just get a multi. Yeah, and check. The biggest tip that I say with a multivitamin is look at what are the ingredients that it is the highest in. So the things you'd want to be looking for are those exact things we just listed. So if it's high in magnesium, high in zinc, high in maybe some immune boosting factors like vitamin C, if it's got a little bit of vitamin D in there, great. For females, another one you want to look for is folate, selenium. There's different things that I think girls want to look for in supplements more than guys. Yes. But yeah, I think about those sort of things. What would be ones you look for with guys in a multi?
Again, like the zinc, magnesium, vitamin D. And the thing of a multi is, like, yes, a lot of them are underdosed, but there's a whole point in it, is it's a supplement. Yeah. And also, they underdose it because when we say that things inhibit absorption of something else, that tends to be at certain dosages. For example, if you have 50 milligrams of calcium, it's not going to inhibit the absorption of iron.
Iron, yeah.
But if you have 300 milligrams, just about the same as a glass of milk, then it is going to. So you'll see that some multivitamins will have 50 milligrams of calcium in and iron as well, and you're like, oh shit, those two don't work, but it's at a low dosage, so it doesn't inhibit. I would say that, and iron is another one. Yeah, I suppose. Do you have iron in Maltese? I don't know.
I haven't had a good look.
Yeah,
I honestly don't have that many of my females on iron, so
no, because you can sort their diet.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is it's very easily sorted. A lot of this is very easily sorted with diet, but like we said, it comes back to if you're going to limit your dietary intake through certain choices and limitations. I want to be keto, I want to be paleo, I want to be vegan, then expect to add more in supplementation wise.
Yeah, and this is where I think a good coach comes in, and even though we coach like predominantly more flexible dieting, it doesn't mean that we just give our clients macros and let them run wild. Like, we get our clients to do food diaries, send us snapshots of what they're eating so that we can see what nutrients they're missing when we're dosing out their supplements. Because that's a really important one with flexible dieting. Yeah. Because a lot of the time people are being so flexible that you've got no idea what they're consistently intaking. So it's a case of sometimes reining in the flexibility and saying to a client, I actually want you to eat pretty similar foods for a couple of weeks, and then we can see how you're feeling, and then maybe make some changes. Yeah. So there's pros and cons. The great pro of flexible dieting, though, in that same setting, is that you're getting more variety. So at the end of the day, you're probably covering your bases pretty well. And you've got the chance to change up your intakes a lot easier than someone on a meal plan. So, yeah, I think that this is where flexible dieting has a great role. I definitely used to take way more supplements when I was on meal plans. Like, way more.
For sure. Yeah.
Because I was missing out on so many things. Definitely, like, red meat and, like, fats, and just, I was on no calories, so that didn't help. But, yeah, I think we should kind of, I guess, wrap up there. We've got a special guest on the next episode. So we can announce it because we want your questions in.
Who's that?
So we have got Mr. Dr. Lane Norton on our next episode. We're going to be talking to him about training. We haven't really done a training episode yet.
My favourite.
So we thought, even though Lane's known more for, I guess, being the first person to really openly talk about metabolic adaptation, or the old school damage, but we've changed that word now. But we thought we'd get him on for something different because everyone asked him about that. So we're going to talk to him about training, recovery methods, how hard you train, all of that.
A little bit of science in there of maybe hypertrophy and how
absolutely. How much volume you need, all that sort of stuff. So if you have any questions on that, please let us know. Shawnee, any final words?
My final words. Just think about the word itself, supplement. So it's pretty obvious. It's not if you look at... It's not
going to replace your diet.
No. If you look at Eric Helms' amazing nutrition pyramids, I'm pretty sure the last thing...
Pyramid of muscle and strength.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the last thing on there is supplements.
Yeah.
So it's... in terms of the bottom to the top, you obviously don't need it that much.
Yeah, actually, that brings up one good point. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Go for it.
But a lot of people, very common, complain about stress and cortisol.
Yeah.
And then they're looking for this magic supplement that is going to help you fix that. There is not a supplement in the world that can fix your stress and cortisol levels. I can tell you that right now. I might be able to slightly aid it. But if you don't sort your fucking lifestyle out and get some more sleep and de-stress and find ways of changing your brain...
Yeah.
And I'm saying that from a place of experience, because I used to be the person that would look for that magic supplement because I was stressed out of my brain and unhappy. So I think that I really learnt that I needed to change my lifestyle, and then potentially I can add some supplements in. So if you go and look at Eric's Muscle and Strength Nutrition Pyramid, it goes energy balance, macronutrients, micronutrients, nutrient timing, and then supplements. So
that's from most important
to least important. So have a look at it that way and think about, have I got everything else down pat?
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean you don't need to add those things in until you've got them down pat, but we're just saying if you forget to take your supplements for a few days or this and that, you're probably going to be okay, and focus on other stuff.
Sometimes it's a good thing to not take your supplements for a while, because it's like, well, if I still feel all right, I probably didn't need that.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
And then if you start feeling shit again, you go back on it. Like it's the same thing as like someone asked is, do I need to be on supplements for life? Not necessarily. See how you go. If you start feeling like shit again, but you know that a certain supplement made you feel good, start taking it again.
Yeah, and I think that our last tip is if you're not sure and you really don't want to spend your money until you are sure, go and get some bloods done.
Yeah, I think too many people are afraid of that. I think they think that, I only go to the doctor when I'm sick, and it's like, well, you should go when you want to prevent being sick. Yeah, go for a checkup. There's no harm. Doctors do it.
Yeah.
You're allowed to go in there and say, look, I'm not feeling very good. Or check. Even if you do feel good, I just want an annual check. Take my bloods. I want my liver, my kidney, my red blood cell count, my white blood cell count. Lots of these sorts. Maybe we can go into that in another episode about taking bloods and health markers and stuff like that. But it's important. I get my clients to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's really important. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed another episode. And if you have any questions, please send them to our emails, which are listed down below in the show notes. Otherwise, you can follow us on social media at Ali Round and at McClaney Trained.
Follow me.
Follow him. Let's get him to 1,000. And one final announcement. I am running my 3rd booty camp. So all glute training. I'm calling it the Glute Grow and Evolve Workshop. And it is going to be on the 24th of March. I only literally put it live today. It is Sunday the 18th. And I think I've only got about 7 spots left. So it's already going like hotcakes. So if you
Everyone
want
wants
to...
a big booty.
That's it. If you want to learn all about glutes, training with me for 5 hours. It is super cheap. Such good value for money. $150 if you get in before the 1st of March. Like if you do a PT session with someone, it's like $70 to $100. Yeah. So you're going to train with me for 5 hours and you're going to pay $150. So
damn.
Yes. And I don't do a lot of PT anymore. So it is a great bargain, great way of coming down. Come train with me. Why should they train glutes with me, Shawnee?
Because, well, if you look at did you put it on the poster or did you just, I can't remember.
I haven't been blessed with a great badonkadonk.
Oh, well, number one, look at yours. Yeah.
Now.
She built a big butt. From a pancake ass to a very big... And the tester is when you stand up straight.
Is it fat or is it
So
booty?
don't bend your back and whatever. You stand up perfectly straight. Do you still have a butt? Is there that rounded...
Without doing the mandala toner pose.
Yeah, so, and you've got a big butt. But the thing is you built a lot of big butts. When you put out that call for pictures the other day, I would say, a dozen to 20 of your clients, 20 of your clients, they've got some big booty changes.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that like I see a lot of girls on social media and Instagram, and I'm not throwing any shade to the people who have genetically been built with storing a bit more fat on their glutes and putting muscle on there easily.
Like Kardashian.
Yeah, but that's not me. That's surgery. But yeah, I haven't been blessed with that. So and I don't store a lot of fat there. So if what I do have there is generally has to be muscle to make it look bigger.
You have no cellulite.
No, but...
I have more cellulite than you.
Yeah, but I still fat elsewhere. We all have our blessings. But yeah, so that would be awesome. I want to wrap this episode up. Like we said, we've got 2 awesome people coming up in our episode soon. So the more questions, the more feedback. Please leave us a feedback on iTunes.
Give us a review.
And some peasant gave us a 2-star review.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
Hey, if you're that peasant going on iTunes, just don't.
Hey, it could have been 1.
It could have been 1.
Yeah, don't be the glass half empty, be the glass half full. Or 2 out of 5 full.
No, I'm just saying, just don't. Yeah. Just don't. We'll
find you.
We'll find you. So yes, 5-star reviews on iTunes because it does boost up the ratings, and that is all we ask of you. If you got something from this episode, literally that's all you've got to do. Go give it a 5-star, give it a review, and, throw some fun comments at us, and we'll be more than happy to give you a shout out on the podcast.
And any questions.
So yeah, this is just to educate, and this has been really long, so we've got to get off and go to bed.
Yeah, because it's 11:30 at night. So on that note, we'll see you next time. And next time we'll have Lane Norton on, so you won't be sick of us talking. And me going off on tangents and it being 85 minutes.
I'm sure the Lane will be exactly the same. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode, and we will chat to you in the next podcast.
See ya.